from stories across the world to stories here at home. This is the National News Broadcast. A very good evening to you. I'm Nitya Chandra.
A very good evening indeed. I'm Charita Binaprarachi and here are today's headlines.
9 districts adversely affected by the inclement weather. The anticipatory bail application of former Minister Rajasekaran rejected. Parliamentarian Gamman Pilla says the offender is found in a telephone conversation of Ranil Wickramasinghe. The attempts by the President to steer the country on the right track receive the blessings of the Mahasangha. Health authorities note a rise in influenza patients. Bushfires in Australia intensify.
Now in your top story this evening, the day-to-day activities of 9 districts have been disrupted due to the adverse weather conditions. Meanwhile, landslide red warnings have also been issued on the Kandy, Nuwara and Matale districts. The Met Department forecast showers or thunder showers at many places in the island with heavy falls of around 100 to 150 millimeters of rain to be expected at some places in the western Sabaragamuwa central provinces and in the Galle district. Fairly heavy falls of around 75 to 100 millimeters of rain can be expected at some places in the eastern Uva northwestern provinces and in the Mathura and Hambantota districts. Sporadic showers or thunder showers may occur in the northern, north central, eastern Uva and central provinces and in the Hambantota district. The Disaster Management Centre states due to heavy rains being experienced, the road from Badula to Bibila across Passara and Lunugala will remain closed from 6 p.m. today to 6 a.m. tomorrow. Dense misty conditions being reported along the western slopes of the central hills due to prevailing inclement weather. Therefore, Hatton and Thalawakale police request motorists to exercise caution when driving. A house was destroyed when a rock bund collapsed along the Passara Bandaranaike Mava. The father and 2 sons of the family who were in the house at the moment were hospitalized. A tourist rest house being completely destroyed due to the collapse of a bund close to the Alla Junction in Bandaravilla. 3 Australian nationals who were lodging at the rest house suffered injury. 1 lane of the Hangurangketha Malapata Lianvilla road has been totally obstructed due to the collapse of mounds of sand. The road development authority is taking steps to remove the debris. 40 families have been temporarily housed at the Iluk Palasa Community Hall. Director of Disaster Management overseeing the Monoragala district, Ravindra Kumara, says 849 families have been displaced due to the heavy rains. A cyclonic situation which affected the Nachadu area in Anuradhapura resulted in damages to 42 houses. The Somavati road was inundated due to the overflowing of the Mahavali river. The disaster management states the road has been temporarily closed. Seven houses in the Helvala and Kanuvav areas were inundated after the Bibila Gala Oya started overflowing. Tanks and rivers in the Monragala district have overflowed due to heavy rains. 1,150 families have been displaced. 2 spill gates of the Ranthambore Reservoir have been opened. A number of tanks in Dambula and surrounding areas have overflowed. The spill gates of the Kandalama tank have been opened for the second time. 5 spill gates of the Bankatua tank have also been opened. The Badaloy overflowed at Halia Udwara. The Dimodara tank in Bandaravilla has also overflowed. 14 of the 32 spill gates of the Rajangane Reservoir have been opened. Our correspondent reports 2 spill gates of the Thambut Tegama Angamu tank have also been opened. Media spokesman of the National Disaster Management Centre, Pradeep Kotipalli, says the emergency hotline 117 is available around the clock to be contacted should there be any issues pertaining to the relief measures being implemented. He further states the Disaster Management Centre, the National Disaster Relief Services Centre and the Tri-Forces are currently engaged in relief activities continuously.
And meanwhile, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, who is the Minister of Finance, Economy and Policy Development, has issued directives to the chairman and CEOs of all banks to suspend the recovery of loans obtained by the small and medium entrepreneurship sector. The government has taken a decision to take up a new initiative to revive small and medium-scale entrepreneurship, of which the outstanding debt is not exceeding 300 million rupees. This measure has been taken since recently the counter-tax reform initiatives provide substantial savings to all banks, including the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. The government expects the banks to use part of such savings to revive the small and medium entrepreneurship sector on a priority basis. And the anticipatory bail application filed by former Minister Rajasekaran was rejected today. The application, which was submitted yesterday, was taken up before Colombo Chief Magistrate Lanka Jayaratne today. After the rejection, the former minister resubmitted an anticipatory bail application to the Colombo Magistrates Court this evening. A false disclosure on a white van issue was made during a press briefing held in the run-up to the presidential election. At the controversial media briefing, the former minister introduced two individuals, saying during the Rajapaksa era, two individuals who were taken in white vans escaped. The former minister introduced one individual as Atula and said it is the owner of the driver of the van who is sitting on his right-hand side. One individual said that persons are abducted in one vehicle and are switched to another vehicle. Thereafter, they are taken to a location in Monaragala and are drowned in a tank that is full of crocodiles. The other individual said after the end of the war in 2009, there was a haul of gold and cash in Jaffna. The individual stated that the haul consisted of gold and euro currencies. Former Minister Rajasekaran yesterday filed the anticipatory bail application pertaining to this media briefing in question. The director of the CID, who was named as the respondent in the application, was represented by Deputy Solicitor General Dilip Papiris. Colombo Chief Magistrate Lanka Jayaratne stated in open court that a bail application is a case in which a unilateral consideration of points need to be conducted. Therefore, a representation of the respondents is not necessary. The Presidential Counsel, appearing on behalf of former Minister Rajasekaran, stated in courts that the CID is preparing to arrest his clients as an act of political revenge in connection with the statements voiced by two individuals connected to criminal acts. The President's Counsel further stated the two individuals in question had revealed to his client that they are aware of information pertaining to abductions carried out in white vans and the theft of gold jewelry belonging to Rupavahini. It is also stated that the individuals were presented for the press briefing under the basic right of the freedom on speech and expression guaranteed in the Constitution. The President's Counsel acknowledged in the court that the two individuals were arrested by the CID and that information has surfaced that they are implicated in a number of serious crimes. The President's Counsel stated in open court that in the statements made by the two individuals, it is stated that the details of the statements voiced at the question and answer press briefings were furnished by former Minister Rajasekaran and that the former minister had paid them 2 million rupees for the purpose. Therefore, the President's Counsel called on the magistrate to grant anticipatory bail before an arrest can take place. The magistrate responded pointing out that the petition and the affidavit do not specifically detail under which offence and under the case clause the CID is preparing to arrest the petitioner. The President's Counsel answering said with exception to murders charges, anticipatory bail is being sought pertaining to the other offences detailed in the B report filed in the court. Thereby, Colombo Fort Magistrate Lanka Jayaratne said the court is not in the position to consider the anticipatory bail application. Therefore, issuing the decision of the court, the magistrate rejected serving summons of the respondent cited in the petition. Former Minister Rajasekaran resubmitted an anticipatory bail application in response to the decision of the court.
Now, leader of the United National Party, former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and former deputy leader of the party, parliamentarian Sajith Premadasa, visited former Minister Patali Champika Ranawaka at the Walikada prison today. Professor Ashumara Singh and former Minister Mano Ganeshan accompanied the former Premier. Leader of the United National Party, former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe said they arrived to meet with former Minister Ranil and discussed. As the Speaker was informed after the arrest was made, the leaders of the political parties represented in Parliament are hoping to discuss the issue with the Speaker. The former Premier noted there was no reason to carry out the arrest last night. He pointed out there are serious issues that they vehemently condemn.
මේ ගැන තව දුරටත් ප්‍රශ්න කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. අපි දැන් මුණ ගැහෙනවා ඒ ගැන ගත යුතු පියවර සාකච්ඡා කරන්න.
Former Deputy Leader of the party parliamentarian Sajid Premadasa said they will stand for former Minister Patali Champika Ranawaka, thereby following the legal, constitutional and democratic processes. They will do their best by former Minister Ranawaka. Now, Venerable Ale Gunavansha Thera says the blessings and advice of the Mahasangha will be with President Gotabaya Rajapaksa in his attempts to build the country as a prosperous and developed nation by bringing the country onto the right track. The Thera expressed these views when the President visited the Thera at the Dharma Institute at Colombo 7 this evening. The President engaged in religious observances upon arriving at the Dharma Institute. Venerable Ale Gunavansha Thera said the support of all groups should be with the President on the plans implemented on behalf of the country. The Thera also called for a suitable team to be selected in this endeavour. The Thera further stated an intelligence unit comprising members of the public will be created and a mechanism to identify fraud, corruption, wastage and weaknesses will be designed to bring such issues to the attention of the President. Anunayaka of the Ramanya sect, Venerable Matale Dhamma Kusala Thera and the Mahasangha Minister Dinesh Gunawardena and Susil Premijant were also present. Thereafter, the President visited the Sri Vajira Ramaya at Bambalapiti and called on the chief incumbent of the Amarapura Dharma Rakshita sect, Venerable Dr. Trikunamale Anand Thera. The Thera imparted blessings on the President and conducted a special sermon. He offered strength and courage for the President to create a Dhamma-centered society for the motherland. The Thera said President Gotabaya Rajapaksa is the only leader who can create such a society. Venerable Ananda Thera further stated if this task is not fulfilled within the tenure of the incumbent President, another leader who is able to fulfill this task will not manifest. The Thera highly praised the reputation earned by the President over a short period of time. The prelate added, it is not possible to create a developed society without developing the religiousness of the people. Venerable Ananda Thera also presented a set of proposals to the President pertaining to the creation of a religious and virtuous society.
And meanwhile, the Gazette Extraordinary determined the maximum retail price of a kilo of samba and nadu at 98 rupees has been released. Thereafter, a team of Rupavahini reported visited the market to check on the prices. At Sadhasa outlets, a kilo of nadu is selling at 84 rupees, whilst a kilo of samba is selling at 85 rupees. Raids have been carried out continuously to nab errant traders selling rice for higher prices. The Consumer Affairs Authority, in raids carried out at rice sales outlets in Petta, advised traders against selling rice for high prices. Investigator Office of the Consumer Affairs Authority Buddhikapuri said during the course of yesterday, the Consumer Affairs Authority together with the police raised awareness in the regard in all police divisions in Colombo. However, it was noted goods are being sold above their certified prices even today. In addition, it was observed that certain traders had not displayed the price lists of rice. He further stated the Consumer Affairs Authority is prepared to directly intervene and initiate legal action with effect from today.
Now, an inmate who sustained injuries in a shooting incident at the Variapalli prison was admitted to the Kurunagala General Hospital. The shooting incident reportedly took place at around 12 noon today. Another inmate of the same prison had opened fire with the use of a small firearm. The two inmates in question have been convicted of smuggling heroin. Now, State Minister Indika Anuruddha says state approval had not been received during the previous administration for the orders of the Department of Industrial Factories situated at Colombo. The State Minister made these comments joining in an observation visit of the State Department of Industrial Factories at Colombo today. Now, during the visit, the minister inspected the machinery and a number of divisions, including the heavy equipment and metal design section. Thereafter, the minister engaged in a discussion with the employees and representatives of the trade unions. The employees pointed out over the past 4 years, former Minister of Housing Sajid Premadasa did not visit this entity on a single occasion. State Minister Indika Anuruddha said reasons for the collapse of the entity after 2015 need to be inquired. The State Minister further said discussions will be held with the Ministries of Health, Irrigation and the Department of Railways, and steps will be taken for the respective orders to be procured. State Minister Indika Anuruddha said when a sample is introduced, individuals to identify the product are available at this entity and the required financing and equipment are also available. Therefore, there is no need to obtain services from outside. The minister added as a principle he is not in favour of outsourcing the services of such entities to the private sector.
And meanwhile, the Sri Lankan authorities reiterates that the recent rating action by Fitch Ratings to revise Sri Lanka's outlook to negative has been hastily done without considering ground facts. The Ministry of Finance states such action is untimely and constitutes a rush to judgment. The ministry points out that this decision regarding has mainly been based on hypothesis that Sri Lanka would shift away from the revenue-based fiscal consolidation stance, thereby causing risk to debt sustainability. The ministry further explains the Fitch analysis lacks in giving consideration to the measures of the government is taking to meet any revenue loss, whilst the lack of due recognition of the favourable macroeconomic impact that such policies would deliver or the medium term is also seen. The Ministry of Finance notes the recently announced tax measures aim to stimulate the economy to speedy recovery from the current economic slowdown in the flagging global economy, whilst enabling a conducive environment to regain business confidence.
Now, General Manager of Railways Dilantha Fernando says the engine which derailed between Maradana and Dematagada has still not been put back on track. Further train delays are to be expected. Meanwhile, due to the inclement weather conditions, train services on the Batticaloa line have also been temporarily suspended. Train number 55, which was to commute between the Maradana and Mount Lavinia stations, derailed last evening. Restoration work was underway throughout today, but work has been temporarily halted. Meanwhile, as the rail track in the Mio-Eakone Vava area has been inundated, railway operations from Colombo to Batticaloa have also been temporarily suspended. In addition, due to earth slips occurring at 2 locations along the rail track between Bandaravela and Badula, railway operations have been restricted to Bandaravela. Now, the second intellectual forum of the prestigious Officer Career Development Centre at Buttala was inaugurated this morning in the presence of a gathering of military and civil security experts, scholars, research personnel and think tanks from across the island. Commandant of the Officer Career Development Center, Major General Jaina Javira, delivered the welcome speech outlining the importance of formulating security strategies at local and overseas levels as the world is witnessing extremist trends of different nature. The two-day seminar, which is being held for the 14th consecutive time, was graced by the Deputy Chief of Staff of the Sri Lanka Army, Major General Nirmal Dharmaratna, on behalf of the Army Commander Lieutenant General Shavendra Silva. Chief guest Major General Dharmaratna, delivering the keynote address, highlighted the importance of addressing current security issues on the correct perspectives and reviewing existing typical paradigms.
I'm honored to address you at the opening ceremony of
Honored and privileged to fire the first volley at this intellectual gathering, which is going to continue for another full day to come.
And in your stocks update, the All Shares Price Index closed at 6,044.73 points, dropped by minus 0.54 points, and the S&P SL20 Index closed at 2,945.89 points, also dropped by 0.45 points at the end of the trading in the Colombo Stock Exchange today. Turnover was over 753 million rupees. Here's a summary of the market details of the Colombo Stock Exchange today. And with that, we conclude tonight's news. Do it just tomorrow at the very same time. Good night.
Good night.